Next function, that is control over executive. All right. This is the most important of powers. You see, the parliament has got the exclusive power to control over the executive. All right. You know, in India, the executive body takes birth from the legislature itself. You first find the Lok Sabha election is conducted after every 5 years, and thereafter a new government is also formed. This government itself is known as the executive body of the Indian country. All right, Indian government. All right, and this executive body of the government means what? It is the ministers, PM and his council of ministers. So PM and his council of ministers is actually the executive body of the country. All right, but they are first the members of the parliament and then the ministers. All right, as you know, in India, the legislative body and the executive body are not separated. They work in close cooperation. All right, anyway, now how can the parliament control over the executive? The first thing we have to understand about the ministerial responsibility. You know, all the ministers are individually and collectively responsible to the parliament. All right, for their acts of commission and omission. All right, you see, they are all responsible. All the ministers individually responsible for their own department, all right, to the parliament. At the same time, they are all collectively responsible to the parliament. That is one of the most important features of the parliamentary system of government. That is, with us, we are basically a parliamentary form of government in India. See, that is why all the ministers individually or collectively responsible to the parliament. They enjoy their office till they enjoy the confidence of the parliament. The moment they lose this confidence, what is this confidence? This confidence is that in order to form the government, as you know, minimum 50% plus 1 majority is required. So as long as this majority of 50% plus 1 itself is called confidence in the language of political science, all right, in the language of civics. So these ministers enjoy this confidence, and as long as they enjoy this confidence of 50% plus 1, they are there. That means they are there in the governance. The moment they lose this confidence, they have to resign or they have to quit forthwith. And that is why they are responsible to the parliament. And as you know, in parliament has got so many procedures also, like question hour, as I mentioned it here. Question hour happens to be the first hour of the session. All right, when questions are raised from the members of the parliament to the ministers. All right, it is the job of the speaker, you know, to make the agenda, which minister will come which day to face the parliament. As I told you when I taught you this function of the speaker. All right, so the ministers are there and questions are raised by the members of the parliament, particularly by the opposition, particularly and pragmatically also, practically also by the opposition leaders. All right, they ask supplementary question also. Why they want? Why they ask? They ask for more clarification in order to control the minister so that the minister works efficiently. All right, so this is how they control it. Every minister is very well aware that if they do anything wrong, they will be questioned in the parliament, and that will ultimately turn into no confidence motion and their government will have to go. So, that is one way of controlling the executive body. Next is adjournment motion. What is adjournment motion? The adjournment motion in Hindi is called Kam Roko Prastav. Means, suppose the parliament is in session, the meeting, the debate, meeting and debate is being held, and suddenly some opposition, practically some opposition leaders may raise their hand and say, we want to table adjournment motion. That means to adjourn the debate now, adjourn the discussions now, and discuss more on a very, very important issue, which is more important. As for example, suppose there is a huge flood, an air crash, a railway accident, all right, a lathi charge by the police on a peaceful procession, or the retired people are not getting their pensions on time. These are some of the issues, which needs immediate attention of the parliament. That is why this adjournment motion is also called the attention motion. That means attention of the government is drawn towards a more important issue. All right? Now, through this, what happens? The government is criticized. That means the government is not taking care. The government is not bothered about all these issues. All right. So, this gives enough chance or enough opportunity to the opposition to criticize the government and ask the government to immediately take action on these particular happenings. All right. That is why you find that whenever there is a railway accident, the railway minister immediately air dash to the spot or give instructions to the state government or sends its official immediately a team of doctors, a team of technicians and all that in order to see that the attention is given to the railway accident. Those who are dead are immediately, those who are injured, they are immediately sent to the hospital. Those who are dead, compensation is immediately announced by the government, and the teams of technicians are also sent, engineers and technicians are also sent, so that the debris are displaced from there, the bodies are extricated from the debris itself, and so that the railways can ply without any disturbances thereafter. So, I just gave you an example to make you understand that what is this adjournment motion. That means through adjournment motion, attention of the government is drawn. This is how the failure of the government is shown. Okay. Next is no confidence motion. Now, what is no confidence motion? As I told you initially itself, that the government, that is ministers, enjoy their confidence in the house. So, as soon as they lose the confidence, they have to quit. Now, what happens? Say, when it is called Avishwas Prastav in Hindi, or popularly known as Avishwas Prastav. Now, what happens? Suppose the opposition has lost their confidence on the government because there are one after the other failures made by the government, then they can table the no confidence motion. They can address that to the speaker, and thereafter the no confidence motion be tabled. But you see, this no confidence motion will have to be passed by minimum 2/3 majority of both the houses. All right, 2/3 majority. So, If it is passed by two-third majority separately of the Lok Sabha and separately of the Rajya Sabha, then they are immediately, the government falls. So government can also, if the government can also fall, as you know, because of the lack of confidence. If it loses its 50% plus one majority, the government is immediately has to resign. All right. All right. Next is the elective powers. You see, the Parliament has the power to elect the president. Both the houses, all right. Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, elected members of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, along with the state legislative assemblies, can elect the president of India. All right. And elected members of only Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha can elect the Vice President of India. Just remember one thing, while electing the Vice President, the members or elected members of the state legislative assemblies are not required. All right. So this is how the President and Vice President are elected by the Parliament. Parliament takes part in the election along with state legislative assemblies for the presidential election. Now next is the constitutional amending powers. You see that the Parliament has the power to amend the Constitution of India. Now the Constitution, you often find there are so many amendments, and these amendments are only made by the Parliament of India as far as the union laws are concerned. Just mind it, union laws. All right. Now there are two ways of the amendment. Some very important amendment, it is decided by the Parliament itself, by its committees, as which are more important, which are lesser important. Now all important amendments are passed by two-third majority. All right, separately of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and thereafter it will have to be ratified by minimum 50% of its states. All right, it will have to ratify by minimum 50% of the total states of India, states and territories of India. So that is important one. But those which are not that important or rather lesser important, those amendments are done simply by simple majority. All right. They are made by the simple majority. It's all right. Clear.